This is the most poisonous man in the world. He put the poison into the glass of wine and watched intently as his wife drank it all, with an evil smile on his lips again. Finally, he put the eye drops in his eyes, pretending to be sad, in order to get everyone's sympathy and comfort. After everyone left, he finally couldn't hide the joy in his heart. He arrives at the house of his beloved Mary. The scene comes to a morgue. The lights in the morgue go on and off. A security guard on duty went to check it out. He found that the woman's body had disappeared. He rushes out to look for her, but he found the woman's body in the corridor. Suddenly the woman opened her eyes. Scared, the security guard rushed to run away. He immediately took out his cell phone to call the police, but due to the shock and nervousness, the phone accidentally did not hold. Dropped it in another room. He leaned on the window and tried to find the phone. Unexpectedly, a figure appeared behind him, suddenly knocked him out, and at that moment, the man on the other side received a call from the police, saying that his wife's body was missing. The man was terrified and panicked. Did his wife not die? He hurriedly dressed and rushed to the scene. Before leaving, he also deliberately took a box of painkillers. Then the man came to the crime scene. In the process of talking with the police, the man did not show a very sad look, so the police suspected that he had killed his wife and stole the body. The police continued to ask about the time your wife's body disappeared. Where were you when your wife's body disappeared? Naturally, the man did not dare to tell the truth. He claimed he was at a pharmacy buying medicine. Then he took out a box of medicine from his pocket. This box of pills is exactly what he brought just before he left, so he had already prepared for it. The police could only half believe it. Then the police went to the surveillance room. They found that there were no other cars passing by, only the police and the man's car. The police suspected that someone had stolen the body on purpose, because this place is very remote. If you don't drive and go around the main road, they could only go over the mountain. In order to cover up the truth, the killer is likely to bury the body in the mountain. As the main suspect, the man, the police locked him up in a room. At that moment he seemed to hear something. He went over and found a wine glass. This glass was the one used to poison his wife. Suddenly a woman appeared behind him. The man was immediately awakened, so it was just a dream. But this dream is too real. Had to make the man suspect his wife might not really be dead. Then the man went to the bathroom. He nervously began to call Mary, so as not to give away the news. He deliberately closed the window, but the moment he came out, the window opened again on its own, and then he found a card on the windowsill. Mary's name was written on it. Just then, a figure suddenly appeared at the door. The man was dumbfounded. Then he disappeared again, but this made him even more suspicious. His wife was still alive. She was taking revenge on herself because this card, it was an invitation from his wife to go to a concert with her. But because Mary had an emergency, the man had to miss the appointment. And it just so happened that his wife saw it from afar. While he was thinking about it, the electricity in the room suddenly went out. The man turned around. He found that the door of the morgue had opened automatically. He slowly walked over to it, found a small box. The man opened it and looked. Immediately was shocked. Inside was a bottle of potion. The bottle of potion was the same potion that poisoned his wife. The poison had obviously been disposed of. How could it be here? He hastily put the potion into his pocket. Unexpectedly, this action was seen by the police, so the police grabbed the potion and called someone to check. The strange action increased their suspicion of the man. At this time, the man accidentally found a cell phone. The text message on the phone reads, "I'm waiting for you at the place where our secret is buried." Meanwhile, the police collected some information. On the information was written the prenuptial agreement between him and his wife. There was also a secret photo of the two of them. It turned out that his wife had been sending someone to follow him all along. That's when they suddenly received a text message on their phones. It was a picture of him and Mary. But what's strange is that the last one was actually taken today. This also means that Mary's house is being watched, so he called Mary right away. He told her to leave, but the door was locked. However, there was no sound on the other end of the line. The man was worried that something had happened to Mary. He was very emotional, shouted to go out to save her, but the police stopped him because of all the strange things happening one after another, and the safety of Mary. He could no longer bear the pressure inside. After thinking it over, he decided to confess to the police, but he had one request. He asked the police to protect Mary. The police did not refuse and sent someone to Mary's home. It turned out that the man was an executive of a pharmaceutical company. He was was also a university lecturer. Money and status. He had everything. He is the legendary rich and handsome. But in fact he was not happy, because he has a very controlling wife. He doesn't dare to say what she says, where and when he goes. He had to report everything he did to her, even the clothes he wears, with what time must also be in accordance with her requirements. The wife is from a distinguished family. The man's career can reach the present stage, thanks to the help of his wife. But this also became the reason for his wife to control him. Gradually, the man began to be dissatisfied with his wife, but he is afraid that divorce will lose everything he has now, so he chose to confront his wife. He and Mary slowly developed some feelings. Unexpectedly, his wife slowly found out some clues. In addition, Mary also accidentally pregnant. The man had no choice but to kill her. He used the drug he had developed to make his wife die without a trace. Even the autopsy cannot check the kind of completely. On the other hand, the police came to Mary's house, but the results were surprising. Mary did not exist. The man was amazed at the news. He went out like a madman to look for her, but just then the leader arrived at the scene of the crime. Since there is no conclusive evidence yet, the body was not found either. The police had to let go, so the man quickly drove wildly to the agreed secret location. But unexpectedly, the person who made the appointment was actually the police officer. The truth slowly emerged. It turns out that the policeman once had a fiancée. Once when he took his sister out to play on the road, unfortunately met with a car accident. The sister survived, but the fiancée's body is unaccounted for, and the driver of the accident was this man. At that time, the fiancé could still be saved. Just when the man was about to call for help, but was stopped by his wife, because the man was driving drunk, and his career was booming. Can't let a car accident ruin everything. Finally, the two decided to bury the cop's wife in the nearby mountains, and the sister, because she fell into the grass, lucky to escape from a disaster. In fact, it was all a ploy by the cop. He knocked out the security guard and stole the body, then lured the man to the crime scene, including cell phone text messages are also sent by him. The man just tried to escape, but found that his body was out of control. It turns out that before this, Mary had already poisoned his glass of water. But this Mary is the sister of the policeman's fiancée. She wasn't pregnant either. All this was planned by the two of them, just waiting for the day of revenge. At the end of the film, the revenge of the two people has been avenged. But for the cop and his sister, they lost those normal times that should have been. And who should compensate?